Happy rOcktober 2025. Halloween is just around the corner. This is going to be a video, another book plugging video. I've got a couple already on this channel about the book They Were White and They Were Slaves by Hoffman, the Redneck Manifesto. I've done book videos before where I plug books, and I may take those same books and redo those videos. I used to have those type of videos and strength training videos and stuff on this channel. I took everything down because I was going to redo this channel for something else, and I've been using it for work. And videos that I put on there unlisted, they're not public, at least not yet. They're just videos I do about what I do at work, because I'm a heavy equipment operator, etc., at a junkyard. So what I do, I make certain videos to share with certain people. And but I like sharing different ideas, different concepts, and even if it's just pointing to a non-mainstream book that opens your mind, I like that. I like the people that are rebels and outlaws, not rebels as in rebelling against good things, or outlaws that are just going out and criminalizing people. I'm talking about true outlaws, people who think outside the box, who don't follow other people's goddamn social rules or anything like that just because they're told to. They don't believe something just because they're fucking told to believe it. And I like that. So I like that people think for their fucking selves. And if you tell me something's wrong, evil, politically incorrect, I'm going to look into it. Because a lot of times the things people are saying are wrong. No. I did a video a while back on Virus Mania, Dr. Sam Bailey, who has a channel on here, and I may redo that book. I do redo that video on that book. That book really opened my eyes. She was one of 4 authors of that book. 2 other doctors, and there was some sort of medical researcher. It was 4 authors. They collaborated and made that book, Virus Mania, and it opened my mind, and I began to look into that about the whole thing, and that was back in 2020. So I've read Larkin Rose's book. I did a video on Larkin Rose's book, The Most Dangerous Superstition. He's a fellow anarchist, non-statist, voluntarist, and his book is really good. Of course, I was an anarchist, non-statist long before I ever heard of Larkin Rose, before YouTube. But it's a good book. I suggest it. I read Bruce Lipton's book, Epigenetics. I did a video about that. Maybe I'll redo that video. Well, because I like when people they share knowledge and research, and it may not be mainstream. Now, Species with Amnesia: Our Forgotten History is the name of this book, written by Robert Sepehr. He's an anthropologist. He calls himself the world's most dangerous anthropologist because he is politically incorrect. He's a mental outlaw, a spiritual rebel, because he just can't follow the mainstream bullshit lies. And it would seem like by now, with this latest stuff in the media here in October 2025 and the things that have happened just recently, the lies that are told, the bullshit, just like the John F. Kennedy thing, the thing with the towers, the stories that were told about a lot of things in history back in the 40s, 1940s, things like that, we're finding bullshit, 1860s, things that were being told, the 1700s that were told. But when you look into an alternative way of looking at things and look at the evidence, you begin to say, I just can't go along with the mainstream history, mainstream medical profession, mainstream nutrition, food industry, mainstream anything, really. You have to think for yourselves, and that's a big thing that I'm about, is thinking for yourself and being yourself, being your true, authentic self. In this book, Species with Amnesia, by Sepehr, Graham Hancock also believes we're a species with amnesia. And of course, Graham Hancock is not an anthropologist. He is just simply a researcher, a writer. And he started looking into the history of man, the ancient history of man, and he began to find that the story just doesn't make sense. Like a lot of things here recently in the recent news that don't add up, right? And then things in a lot of news cycles that have come up that didn't add up, right? Well, the Species of Amnesia is the idea that Robert Sepehr touches on in this book, and he has genetic, anthropological, historical, and other anecdotal evidence to prove that it is quite possible that the Cro-Magnon man was actually Atlanteans. The Cro-Magnon species of hominids, of humans, was actually the Atlanteans. And that the Atlanteans had a worldwide empire, because I don't believe in flat earth, sorry, but they had an empire, and they shared their technology, and they made these stone monoliths. They did these polygonal walls that are all over the world that I believe are basically poured concrete, or the stones were heated up like Play-Doh and placed in all that. The scoop marks where they're scooping out stone, and things like that. I believe that the Great Pyramid, I believe like Robert Schock, I believe his name is, who says that he believes the Sphinx on the Giza Plateau in Egypt could be as much as 35,000 years old. In this book, and also Graham Hancock, they both point to a catastrophic event around the Younger Dryas period, around 9,500 years BC, something like that, 11,000, almost 12,000 years ago. The Younger Dryas event, which caused the Earth was already in ice age because it goes through cycles of heating up and cooling. And ice age, and it was slowly heating up, but then it instantly heated up like real super fast, created massive flooding, which I believe is what the Atlanteans experienced. I believe the cities and things, that the monoliths and stuff that are found off the coast of India, northern Egypt, off of Japan. I believe that those places used to be on hard land. They're on the edge of the land, the coastal areas, and then there was this great heating up that was either caused by a meteor. Randall Carlson, he talks a lot about the Younger Dryas and this great catastrophic event, either by a meteor, solar storm, maybe a couple of things, but it created a lot of the frozen water melted, and it created these floods and things like that. Well, I believe that. I believe that there was some sort of worldwide empire where people traveled, they used boats, things like that. Thor Heyerdahl proved that the Egyptians could have easily got on a boat and went all the way to South America. So with these people like Randall Carlson, Graham Hancock, Robert Sepehr, all these people are pointing toward, and others are pointing to the fact that Atlantis was real, like Plato wrote about, actually might have been real. Now, I agree with Jimmy Corsetti, bright insight. I agree with him. I personally believe, not only do I believe Atlantis was real, I believe that its main city, the rings that was in rings, I believe that is in Mauritania, Africa. I believe in Northwest Africa. I believe that the Eye of Sierra, I believe that water went in there. When you look at satellite photos, it does look like a great mud flood, and Atlantis was supposed to have been covered by mud and that no ship can pass through again. I believe now I know that people talk about the islands right off of the West Africa was Atlantis. I believe that was Atlantis. I believe that Atlantis ultimately, we do know, because Atlas supposedly had 10 suns and all this. I believe that there was multiple cities. But I do believe that the actual one that Plato talks about, that Solon spoke of, that had rings, I think it's Mauritania. You have the black or red rocks, you have your mountains that are described, the elephants were there. There's a lot of things that point towards the Eye of the Sierra in Mauritania being, and I have to agree with Jimmy Corsetti. Now, Jimmy Corsetti found that. There was another man, I don't remember his name, I have seen the documentary though, that also claimed that before Jimmy Corsetti, or AKA Bright Insight, and he started looking into it, and he kind of made it internet famous, the idea, the concept. I think Randall Carlson disagrees with that idea. I think Graham Hancock might disagree with that idea. That's what I think. But I do believe that there was Atlantis. I do believe Atlantis existed. I believe it was a worldwide empire. I believe that something happened to it and a lot of these other extensions of the Atlantean stone monolith societies that got flooded and destroyed. I believe a lot of them were tied to the Atlantean peoples or the Cro-Magnon band. That's what I think. And it's just an idea. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it's an idea. But the Earth is a lot older than, I'm an ex-Christian. The Earth is a lot older than 6,000 or 7,000 years old, and mankind is too. And I believe that mankind used to have very advanced technology, just a different form of technology. Maybe it was a different reality. I don't know. But it's an idea to think about. I highly suggest this book. It's not that expensive. Again, I'll put the link for it and his YouTube channel in the description if you want to check it out. You don't have to agree with everything about Robert Sepehr. Now, Robert Sepehr, he's accused of being a lot of things. I don't really fucking care. This book here lays out a very good idea. He doesn't tell you have to believe him or anything like that. And I like books that challenge the mainstream. I like ideas and concepts. I like people that are rebels and outlaws and free thinkers and outliers, because I believe that evolution of man, the social, psychological, or psychic evolution of man, is helped by the rebels, the outlaws, the free thinkers, the Nikola Teslas of the world, the people like that, and they just have ideas and concepts and they put it out there. They get labeled all kinds of names, accused of all things. When a lot of medical doctors were disagreeing with the mainstream medical profession and pharmaceutical profession and the media and the government in, a few years ago during that little fiasco there, and they were disagreeing. Some of them doctors were disagreeing, when nurses were disagreeing with certain things. Well, how come their expertise is not listened to as equally and weighed just as equally, right? So sometimes just like time told on them assholes back in 2020, 21, like that, time tells. There's a Druidic saying. It says, time is a teller of tales, the judger of deeds, and arbitrator of disputes. An old Druidic, Celtic Druidic saying. And it is. Time sometimes plays out and we get to see. And I believe that as time goes on, more and more people are going to begin to realize, yeah, of course, it's obvious that there was a great civilization with a different type of technology around 10,000 BC. And that they were worldwide and they shared their knowledge and they made these stone monoliths and they shared their information and things like that. And it was very ancient times, very, very ancient. For me, it's important. We must begin to really look at this one world with wonder, with curiosity, and not accept, like when I was a Christian for so many years, I accepted what people told me. I thought that was true. And I would test their ideas, and some people had ideas against Christianity that they didn't convince me. But some things started to happen in my life and I began to question. But if I had never dared to look into other ideas, like I used to think the occult was this evil wickedness, and it's no more wicked than Christianity, and we know that Christianity can be pretty fucking wicked. I personally know that. And Christians can be very, very toxic and very volatile. So you have to be willing to question your own beliefs, your own ideas, your own paradigms, because you might find something more refreshing and it makes more sense to you. But you can't go around just assuming that you know what's best for everyone and that you know what the truth is about history, or what's the best diet for people to eat, or the best health remedy for issues or whatever. We have to question. And I like this. Like I said, Robert Sepehr, Graham Hancock has even been called a racist, Robert Sepehr a racist, because he talk about, there's certain people that might be descendants of the fucking Atlanteans, the Cro-Magnon man. Okay, no problem. That's not a big deal. That doesn't mean people who may not carry Cro-Magnon DNA in them are any less human beings and things like that. But you have to be willing to look into things. I can cite quite a few people and things like that I always just assume we're supposed to have been super evil, and a man with initials of AH, that they're just super fucking evil. And then you hear the Hodge twins themselves, looking into it and going, well, he wasn't the booger man. People aren't like they claim. The people we think are such heroes, they had some shit to them. So it's being fair about everything. In the occult, as I have learned as an ex-Christian into occult and mystical and esoteric things, which includes, the occult is interested. A lot of people in the occult are interested in the Lemurians and Atlanteans and things like that. Yes, absolutely. You begin to learn to open your mind, and just because someone says this is true, whether it's your doctor, a nutritionist, a historian, a scientist, when they say something, oh, this is the way it is, you immediately go, well, I want to question it. A person who's secure in themselves would not be afraid. They wouldn't start calling you a Nazi or some hater or a racist or ignorant or a bigot because you dare to question and you have come up with answers that kind of show that maybe things aren't, like me. I believe in genetics. I believe in race, just like Bruce Lipton does. I believe in chromosomes. I believe in these things. I believe that they carry certain things with them. It doesn't mean it's a life sentence that you are stuck a certain way. It's just like if you find you have a gene for some kind of cancer, doesn't mean you're going to get that cancer, right? And Bruce Lipton goes deeply into this in his book Epigenetics. Maybe I'll redo a video about that. I don't know, but it's just the whole idea of books. Books, they cause you to think. They make you to think. When people put their ideas out there, and you go, well, and it's one of the best things in the world. is to question your own beliefs. And as a Christian, I used to question my own beliefs, but no one could give me a good logical answer. I knew atheism didn't make any sense to me, but I knew there had to be design to nature. And the nature and consciousness are one and the same. You learn in the occult, mysticism, esotericism. You don't have to believe that stuff. You can believe I'm a Satan worshiper or whatever, this, that, and the other. You can. That's fine. But at least look into things. Know what you believe and why you believe it. Again, check out this book if you want. Species with Amnesia, Our Forgotten History. He ties together, he lays out a good case that the Cro-Magnon man was actually Atlanteans, and it was a worldwide empire, and something happened around 950 BC when they had the Younger Dryas, and there was a major flooding and great cataclysmic and catastrophic events like Randall Carlson talks about. These are fun things to look into, that open your mind, and to me they make life make more sense, really. So dare to question things, and don't forget, Halloween is a coming.